Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Sam, Vince, and Tyler Sports Podcast. What's up, everybody?
What up?
All right, to our listeners, I got to get this out of the way. We've been doing a terrible job at it. We're trying to get better. Please, whatever platform you're listening, or if you're watching kind of our slideshow on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, hit those notifications. That way you never miss our content that comes out. We are looking to expand. We're trying to add more stuff, more content, because we're having a lot of fun. But please engage with the channels. That's what we really want. So please like, subscribe, comment,
Smash the subscribe button.
Subscribe button.
Smash the shit out of it. Okay.
Because we will engage. We will engage hard.
Yeah.
And in all of our bios, all of our social media is all in there. Our email is in there. So if you want to send us direct emails, questions, comments, like, we'll share it online. We'll share it on the podcast. So we definitely want to be a show that incorporates our listeners. So we want to make it as engaging as possible to fellow fans. So with that said, let's get the show started. Vince, you know I love me some scores, so let me have it.
All right, we're going to skip Sunday for just a hot second. We'll come back to it. On Sunday,
You mean skip Thursday?
We're going to skip Thursday. That's what I said. Isn't it?
No, but we'll go with it.
Damn it. It's been a long week today. Okay. All right.
I was like, we're going to skip all the games? Okay.
We're going to skip Thursday's score. We will circle back to that in a second. Moving on to Sunday, Cincinnati beat Cleveland 23-10. Baltimore over Pittsburgh 16-14. Jacksonville against Tennessee, they win 36-22. That was quite the barn burner there. Dallas over Houston. Somehow, some way, Houston made it a game, but they couldn't quite get the job done. Dallas wins 27-23. The Buffalo Bills win over the New York Jets 20-12. Detroit over Minnesota in a shocker 34-23. Kansas City beats Detroit 34-28. Good on Denver. Wait, what did I say? Kansas City over Denver 34-28. Okay. I can't read today, folks. I'm having a day. Bumbo! Okay. I can't read. Bachelor degree means nothing, people. Carolina over Seattle,
kids.
30-24. Los Angeles Chargers over Miami, 23-17. We got the Monday Night Football game happening as we're recording. Arizona hosting New England. And let's start with...
Breaking news on that game, by the way. Breaking news. Kyler Murray went down with a non-contact injury and has been carted off the field.
Oh, snap.
He went to go do his baseball slide and didn't come back up.
Ooh, that is not good for Arizona. Arizona was already not going to make the playoffs, but...
Fantasy-wise, it kills a lot of people.
It kills a lot of people that were hoping for Monday Night Miracles, and your boy just got one, actually, because I needed him to not do well, but never wanted it to happen because of injury. I just wanted him to suck, you know. So let's
speaking of sucking,
Sam, on Thursday night, the Rams ended up coming away with the victory over your Raiders, 17-16. Baker Mayfield, Los Angeles Rams legend, on the team for 48 hours and comes away with the victory. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Talk about your experience.
The interception at right before halftime. I'm a little upset with myself that I didn't tweet this before, but as soon as that interception happened, I was like, we're going to lose this game. As soon as that pick happened, it was just in the back of my mind that we were going to lose this game. And then coming out of halftime, it was too close of a game. And I can't trust the Raiders defense when it's a close game. So I hate to say it, but they Raidered it.
This is the exact kind of game the Raiders lose.
The coaches said it. Players are saying it. They're figuring out ways to lose the game. They're not figuring out ways to win the game. And I don't think I've ever seen any team lose games like this. This is the 4th game this season that they blew a double-digit lead. I mean, if you go 500, if you just go 2-2 in those 4 games, you're still in it. Like, you're still within contention. With this loss, I mean, mathematically they still have a chance, but they really don't have a chance. If they would have won that game, you get an extra few days against New England, and then maybe you could pull off a miracle run and sneak into the playoffs. Season's over pretty much. Max Crosby kind of said it the best, was like, he just feels really bad for the fans. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just talent. I don't know what it is. It just seemed like they went into this game and offensively they looked completely different than the weeks before. It's still kind of interesting that apparently Waller and Renfroe were eligible to come back and they were not brought back, and they kind of blamed it on that they haven't practiced, so they didn't want to put them out there, which I guess makes sense. But just having Waller and Renfroe suit up, I thought maybe they don't start, but just having them suit up in case of injuries, or, it is a tight game. And I mean, using Waller even as a decoy, I thought would have been helpful, because he is so athletic and there's not really too many guys in the league that can really match up with him. He's such an amazing talent. Defensively, they just continue to fall apart. I don't know if it's, like I said, I don't know if it's the talent, if it's the right personnel that can't execute what the coaches want. I don't know. Defensively, I don't understand how you could just let Baker Mayfield, who literally showed up the day before, come out and beat you. I mean, that's I can't believe it, but at the same time, it was
very much believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just another heartbreaker. When that game was over, I just like, I was mad, but also like, what should I expect? Because even in this 3-game win streak, they had to win 2 of them in overtime. You had a miracle. I mean, you had an amazing game from Josh Jacobs, where he, put the most yards from scrimmage, as a Raider skill position player. So you had 300 and something yards of scrimmage, so it wasn't like they went on this 3-game win streak and they were dominating on both sides of the ball. 2 of the games were in overtime, and another game was, Jacobs had to go into a God mode. So it is what it is. It's heartbreaking. I can't put my finger on it. I just think somebody put a hex on this franchise, because they are cursed.
Yeah, I think your curse goes back to the tuck rule. I think it's the last of the Mohicans.
The thing that does bother me, though, is the referees, man, have been extremely terrible this season across all games. I mean, the league. It's not just the Raiders. I see more blown calls I've ever seen before this year. And I don't know if maybe it's because I'm watching more games, more football, but I see a lot of blown plays where, specifically in the Raider game, that opening drive, Devontae Adams was clearly face masked, and they let it go. And his whole face was covered with a hand, and the helmet was being grabbed. That was in the first quarter. That was missed. But jumping to the fourth quarter, the Rams offensive lineman was having a terrible day and clearly choked Max Crosby and they totally missed a holding call, and there was a 4th down conversion. I want to say it was a 3rd and long or a 4th and long, and he got away with a holding. And it was like, I know there's the argument, oh, there's holding on every play, but this was an arm across Max Crosby's neck, and they let it go. So there was a bunch of penalties that were missed in the, final 3-4 minutes. The pass interference call, I believe, on the Raiders defender was, I thought, kind of ticky tack in the 4th quarter on that drive. Tillery has been playing since he came over from the Chargers. He's actually been really great on that defensive line. And I think since his arrival, it's really allowed Chandler Jones to do his job, and he's looked really good the past 3 or 4 weeks. But that penalty against Tillery, like, what are you thinking? Like, why did you hit the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hand? Like, that boneheaded penalty was, that's clearly on him as a player. Like, he clearly did that. Why did you do that? Like, why did you smack the ball? That would have pretty much put the game out. So that it's just stupid penalties, man. Like, I can't believe they allowed that. I can't believe they missed that call, the holding call on Max Crosby and the Rams offensive lineman, because that would have put them so far back. It pretty much would have ended that. That was the drive before the game winning drive. It would have been, that was the touchdown before the game winning touchdown.
Right.
So
it's what made the game winning drive possible.
Right. Yeah. So that was clearly a holding call that was missed. And it was throughout the game. There was just a lot of missed calls. And it, unfortunately, I'm a Raider fan, but it seems like the Raiders are always on the short end of the stick when it comes to penalties. And I don't know if it's because of black jerseys. I don't know if it's because of the image of the Raiders. It just seems like there's always more penalties against the Raiders, especially at critical times. But at the end of the day, did they lose that game because of penalties? No. Offensively, the Rams scored that touchdown, and you couldn't get a first down. You get a couple of first downs and the game is over. You have a long drive and the game is over. But they couldn't even kill clock.
Yeah, they only put up 16 points for the entire game against a Rams team that has been putrid, And
going back to the interception at halftime, I know it's an interception, but you didn't need to throw. Derek Carr did not need to throw that ball. You could take the sack. You could get the field goal. You could go for it again. But you definitely did not need to throw that ball. He was hit. The pocket was collapsing. Take the sack. Just take the sack. Why risk the interception? And that's just a classic example of, and Derek Carr says it himself, is just trying to do a little bit too much.
Okay, so you've got that out of your system. You feeling a little better now? A little exercise.
I feel a little bit better since I got this COVID out.
There you go.
Let me go tend to these goddamn dogs. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay. While Sam is tending to these goddamn dogs, and he'll be right back, Tyler, let's turn to your game. Philadelphia all over the Giants, 48-22. It got so bad that in the 3rd quarter, Fox said, yeah, I'm going to head out to the Dallas and Houston game because that's more entertaining.
To be fair, they also did that to the 49ers as well, which we'll get into that as well. They jumped to the Seahawks game in some markets. So,
in some markets. Yeah.
Yes.
Not this one. I got to see mine, but anyway, go ahead. You first.
The best part I love about looking at the standings, because I look at it like, that meme of Wolverine laying in bed with a picture frame and just staring at it. I look at the standings, and it's so great to see that there's an X next to the Eagles, knowing that they clinched the playoff and there's no other team that's done it yet. So it just feels good. It feels good to have that monkey off your back. Like, you don't have to stress about any kind of scenarios and this team needs to lose or tie. And it's great. I love it.
5 times in the last 6 years. I mean, it's a bit of a run,
It's great. Yeah, it's like when the Sharks were in their prime. We were always in the playoffs. I don't know if we really went far, but we were in the playoffs. So I think what I love about this too is that the New York Giants definitely played a way above like their skill level. Everyone can agree that the Giants were not as good as their record showed.
Yeah, they were playing above their weight class there. They were punching above their weight class.
So the talk going in was that the Giants were going to show the Eagles what they're about. Well, we went into New Jersey and showed the Giants what Philadelphia is all about. We controlled every facet of the game, offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, you name it. I mean, we outrushed them. We outpassed them. Our rushing team, Miles Sanders, has now surpassed, is second to Jeremy Maclin. I mean, AJ Brown is second to Jeremy Maclin. And then also too, our rushing has gone back to tying that 2014 team as well before it got blown up by the wonderful coach that he shall not be named that also went to San Francisco as well. But
don't you dare invoke Potato Chip Kelly like that ever. I don't want to ever hear him again.
Hey, we had him first. So
yeah,
it was a really dominant game. And it just proved to show that the Eagles are favored to win the World Series. Look at me. I'm jumping into different sports here. Maybe I'm tired too. I'm just like Vince today.
We're having a day.
Yeah,
we are having a day, ladies and gentlemen. We're working through it. Playing injured. This is all for you. I'm glad you're still hanging on with us, even though we're a little bit chaotic right now.
It's a case of the Mondays.
So the Eagles are obviously favored for the Super Bowl for quite obviously a bunch of different reasons here. So 437 total yards, the Giants 304, 184 passing yards, 253 rushing yards. The game was over by the halftime. So to Vince's point, Fox said, we're going to change to a more thrilling game to watch because clearly the Eagles were on their way to another win. And they turned it off in the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, which is still mind-boggling. I mean, there's still a whole quarter to play. Anything could happen, but
what wasn't even the end. It was like, I want to say it was probably like, 6 or 7 minutes left in the third quarter when they finally pulled the plug on it.
So I'm happy. I'm glad I had this game circled just because this is our first game against New York. I think we end the season against New York. So this will be our 2 times to play against them. So this was a game that I had circled that I thought would be a measuring stick, given that New York's record. We clearly dominated them. The next game I have in the docket that's circled for me is Christmas Eve with the Cowboys and the Eagles. So that will be a good measuring stick. And I will say right now, if Jalen Hurts plays exactly how he's playing now and goes against Dallas and dominates that game, clearly 100% he is going to be the MVP. No questions asked. He will be the MVP of the league. I think that Dallas game will be the measuring stick of it all. So,
okay.
Hey, but everything looks pretty on my end. How's it looking on your end over there, Vince?
It's looking solid like a Brock, man. I'm just life is great over here in the Bay. I was feeling cautiously optimistic last podcast, and I'd like to say your boy was right, at least for this first week, man. Going up against Brady, this is the first time that this is the 7th time a quarterback has made their starting debut against Tom Brady. The first 6 all losses. Today, or I guess this week, Brock Purdy does the impossible before and gets that win. The 49ers win 35-7. Brock Purdy didn't even play in like the last 20 minutes of the game, man. It was real nice. There was clips of his father in the stands, like tears of emotion, just like crying joyous tears, man. It was a wonderful thing to see. And Brock Purdy had himself a day, man. He, like I said, he didn't even have to play the full game. Christian McCaffrey was an absolute stud the entire game as well. I'm really happy we made that trade for him. And I tell you what, the Niners are, I don't want to quite say co-favorites because, the Eagles would have the home game if they meet up in the NFC title game. But this is definitely like we're on a collision course because Minnesota proved themselves to be fraudulent by losing to the Lions. So
Let's
really
say let's say Purdy wins the next 4 games, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a quarterback controversy on your hands?
That's interesting. Not with Jimmy Garoppolo, because Garoppolo
Correct.
just got shown the door today,
Correct.
this week.
In this case, it would be
really?
with Lance.
It would be with Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance would be the starter going into camp and probably be the starter coming like to start the next season, assuming that he's healthy and ready to go. That being said, that leash is awful tight. It's a short leash, man, and if there's any trouble with Trey, the audience, the crowd is gonna start chanting for Brock every. So maybe at this point you flip Mr. Relevant in the off season for
No,
for
you're
a pick.
crazy.
I think that's something that they might consider.
Way.
I think they might consider that if you can get the right value for him, if you get a second rounder for him or something like that, man. If he performs well, if they win the Super Bowl because of Brock, and Brock Purdy is the reason why, you have to at least listen to other teams saying, "Hey, can we get one of your 2 quarterbacks?" And if it's Trey, whoever it is, I'd be asking for a heavy price, man, because you can. And the window then is open again because you traded away all those picks to get Trey Lance. You might be able to recoup a couple of them picks coming back. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It could be interesting. I'm just throwing this out as a possibility. I don't know that that's actually going to happen.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead. I want to jump on this.
But go ahead. It could be fun.
It's just in hypothetical world.
Yeah. Hypothetical world.
If Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl, there is no way in hell he is getting traded. There's no way. I would see you later, Lance.
How many Mr. Relevant last picks has played this well and also has even seen the field?
Here's the thing. Brock Purdy is the first ever Mr. Irrelevant to throw a touchdown pass in the NFL. So if Mr. Irrelevant was a quarterback, it's before this year, that guy's never seen the field, or at least not for any relevance.
I agree with you that Lance is going to be a short leash and he's going to be the starter because you don't take a player that high in the draft and pay him to not play, right? But I do agree it's a short leash, and I think I would be more inclined to try and trade Lance to see if he can recoup something if he doesn't pan out next year for you, and you're basically gonna have a Kaepernick and
Alex Smith situation
all over again.
Yep. That's kind of where we're heading.
If Purdy gets to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, and let's say if he wins, if I'm Brock
They're building
Purdy,
statues.
Then man. I won a Super Bowl. I'm the fucking starter going into next year.
Oh yeah, no. It would be tight. If Trey Lance doesn't play well in the preseason, I could see him losing that starting job because he would have, earned losing that starting job. Weird way to phrase that. But I tell you what, if because of draft capital, Trey Lance is going to be given every opportunity to prove that he isn't the guy, or they go to Brock Purdy permanently. So that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm coming from, because it is incumbent on the coaching staff and on the general manager to put together the best team, right? And when you spend the number 3 overall pick, that's a guy that's supposed to be changing your franchise forever. So you're going to make damn sure that he isn't that guy first beforehand. It's like a few years ago when Matt Cain was on his last legs for the Giants, but fucking Bruce Bochy kept sending him out there and he kept pitching, and basically it was just to prove to everybody else that he's done. He's put a fork in him. He's done. And that's kind of how I see it. Trey Lance will be the starting quarterback until it is obvious, painfully obvious to even the most ardent supporters that he's not the guy. So And that could happen, 3-4 weeks into the season next year. It could happen in preseason. It might not happen. He might be great next year. Who knows? But the point that I'm making is if Trey Lance ends up being good, in the preseason next year, then you got an opportunity to flip Brock Purdy, the last pick in the NFL draft, for maybe a second rounder or a couple second rounders. Who knows, man? I would be mighty tempted to take that deal, especially because Brock Purdy is a rookie. And I mean, there's been plenty of guys who have flashed brightly and burned brightly and then fell back to earth, stares at Kevin Cobb. I mean, just like there's you don't know how long this is going to last. So if you see if the deal is right, make the trade, I mean, but if it's not right, you don't have to do it. That's the luxury. The Niners are going to be going into next season, assuming Brock Purdy plays well. He doesn't have to even win a playoff game necessarily. I'd love to see it, obviously, but if he plays well and they end up losing in the divisional round or something, that's still a lot of trade value, So, I mean, we'll see what happens. And I'd have to listen. If I'm the general manager, I'd have to listen to what teams would be willing to offer me for either of these quarterbacks. And if
you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right. I just think that if somehow, some way Brock Purdy goes on a deep run and doesn't show that doesn't show the signs that he doesn't, that he looks awful. If they lose the game in the playoffs or lose the Super Bowl, and as long as he doesn't throw like 4 interceptions, it's going to be pretty hard to move off of him. And then also, I think one of the biggest conversations you would have to have if you're the 49ers front office is Trey Lance going to be healthy? Because unfortunately, it seems before the injury, it seems like Trey Lance there was a concern that he was going to get hurt. We talked about it pretty much the entire offseason.
Yeah.
We talked about it going into the year. We talked about it after the injury, and thank God you had Jimmy Garoppolo. And now it's thank God you got Purdy, right? As far as
Brock Purdy was running the scout
7
team.
quarters in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, why would you trade Purdy when you might need him to be a Jimmy Garoppolo and step in next year?
That's
and then
true.
You could have 2 quarterbacks on rookie contracts where now it seems like Garoppolo is expendable because you can go in with Trey Lance and Purdy, and you could bring in a third quarterback, maybe draft another quarterback in a later round again. You got a pretty young quarterback room. So I hear you. I'm just kind of worried that I get that you want to give Trey Lance the benefit of the doubt because you traded so much to get him. But at the same time, Purdy, we don't know what he's going to be. It's been 7 quarters, roughly. It's been more like 6 because he'd even play in the fourth
he
quarter.
played
Right?
he didn't play in the fourth quarter. So
it's like 6 quarters.
6.5 because he played most like because Garoppolo got hurt really early in that first game. Like it was like 8 minutes ish left in the first quarter when Garoppolo got hurt. So he played.
I just looked at, can you imagine if they stick with Trey Lance? Trey Lance gets hurt, sucks, and then you traded Purdy, and Purdy develops into somebody like, a Drew Brees, who's maybe, he won the 1 Super Bowl, but he's hella accurate. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but Drew Brees could put the ball anywhere on the field.
Purdy's got a pretty good arm. Like it's got some gas behind. I would say he's probably closer to Brett Favre as far as gas goes.
They've been calling him Big Cock Brock, man. It's
that pump fake that he did to throw it over the top to get to Christian McCaffrey. That look, if you put it side by side with him and Brett Favre, dude, that looked like identical people right there. Like identical. But let's be fair, Sam. Let's be fair. If it doesn't matter which quarterback they go in, if they start Brock Purdy next season they're gonna run him up the middle, and he's gonna snap an ankle, and he's gonna be out hurt anyways, because that's Shanahan's game plan. So let's be real.
Yeah. Rest in the most peace, Deebo Samuel. He will be back before the end of this season, though. But I think he's done for your fantasy season if you have him on your roster. Time to move on.
I read that he's trying to come back in the regular season. Somehow he only got a high ankle sprain. I swear I thought I saw his bone popping out in the
that was
leg.
a sock.
No, it was really scary when it happened, that Deebo injury, but to hear that if they can get him, one game, even if it's just a half in week 18 before the playoffs, I think that would be the ideal situation. Knock some rust off, make sure that he's really good to go, and then pull him before something bad happens. And then you have him ready to roll for the wild card round, because at this point, the Niners are 3 games back with 4 to play, 5 to play.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are probably going to take
4 back. Yeah. So I think, the Eagles are the number 1 seed. The only the first seed gets a playoff bye. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they all have to play wild card weekend. So I'm not counting on getting the first round bye as a Niners fan. I'm looking forward to seeing who the Niners will match up with in wild card weekend, and who that game will be played in Santa Clara. I almost said San Francisco. We know that's not correct, but at least my team's still in the media market. Boom. Okay, that's enough of that. All right.
It's not fair. My team's in a completely different state.
Yeah. Well, so is Sam's.
Oh, yeah, true.
Hey, so will the A's pretty soon, so that's all of us.
Yeah, I know.
Do we want to rip that Band-Aid off?
Anything more about NFL?
I think we're fine and dandy on NFL now.
All right, so we're going to transition over to more sad news, international news. We're going to jump over to the World Cup, and I'll kick it to you, Vince, to kind of get us into it.
So Grant Wahl, who's a longtime veteran, he wrote for Sports Illustrated for a couple decades before leaving in 2020 for his own, independent reporting. He passed away while covering the World Cup in Qatar, and there's been some questions about, how the death happened, and he had reported about the migrant workers and stuff. He actually said a day before he died, he published a piece about the migrant worker deaths in the World Cup, and he posted it with a caption, "They just don't care. Qatari World Cup organizers don't even hide their apathy over migrant worker deaths, including the most recent one." Because another migrant worker died while this World Cup was happening, and it's just been one clusterfuck after another over there. Immediately after Grant's death, his brother Eric posted that Grant had received several death threats for wearing a rainbow shirt with a soccer ball on it, because his brother Eric is gay, and so he was just showing support for his brother. His brother actually said, "I am gay. I am the reason he wore the rainbow shirt to the World Cup. My brother was healthy. He told me he received death threats. I do not believe my brother just died. I believe he was killed, and I just beg for any help." So, his brother is not, we can't rule out foul play, unfortunately.
And I also want to stress that, we're not saying that he was murdered, but we're pretty confident that he was murdered. Without any evidence to prove it, I don't want us to.
It's very suspicious.
It is highly based on what he was wearing. He was actually barred entry for a game for about 30 minutes. They told him to remove his shirt,
and he refused.
Yeah. So, and he died while covering a quarterfinal match. I think it was Argentina's quarterfinal match.
Yeah, Argentina versus Sweden, which is weird because he posted during
tweets.
the game.
He was talking about it. There was people that were saying
I think
he got
texting. Poisoned.
So yeah, we're obviously I would, based on his brother Eric's statement, I have to believe they're going to do a full toxicology, full blood work, full all of it, test for every single fucking thing. when his body is returned,
if they can even get his
family.
body back in a clean state.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a whole lot of questions to be answered, and they're working on getting him home, obviously. And I'm just really, I feel bad for his entire family that this
There was a
happened.
picture that was posted by the Mexican broadcast. I would assume it was Telemundo, but they showed a picture of Grant Wahl during the game, and you could see his feet as he was being like carried up the stairs out of the stadium. So it definitely happened during, but I don't know. I think that he may have been poisoned, in my opinion, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But super unfortunate. He's kind of known for one of those famous, Sports Illustrated, journalists. He basically was the one that did the cover art for LeBron James when he came out. So
yeah, that cover story, like when he was a junior, when LeBron was a junior, and he would have been a lottery pick as a junior in high school, but obviously you play the full time. But yeah, I mean, LeBron posted something like a really nice little tribute to Grant, and a lot of players in several sports, not just soccer, obviously, are posted their support for Grant and his family in this obviously terrible, difficult time and awful circumstance, man. This is heartbreaking, and there's no easy way to transition this, but I guess the World Cup is still going on, and we have semifinals coming up. Argentina versus Croatia is happening Tuesday. France versus Morocco on Wednesday. Both of those games are at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're not working, and you feel like checking out soccer, go for it. If you don't, at this point, I get it. You got to be really invested at this point to really pay attention. The third place game, so the loser of those two games, they'll play on Saturday. The winner of those two semifinal games will happen on Sunday. So we will know who has won the World Cup by the time we record next week.
We're here. I'm just going to jump into it. I know it's an extra point. Hollywood money makes shit happen. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
If you want to watch Wrexham live on Saturdays, that dumbass early, like 6 a.m., you can now watch them via Vodafone. I'll throw in the link to be able to watch them. It's a subscription. I think it's like $10 for the whole year. It's really cheap, and it allows you to watch all National League games if you're that diehard and want to watch that. But you can watch Wrexham. And a standing update. We said last week that Wrexham was in first. They're now in second. We have a long season to go. They're 1 point behind Notts County, but just a little update filler on that one.
Okay. All right. So yeah, there's your sad World Cup soccer news. Let's turn to basketball, and we have a little bit of happier news. Brittany Griner was finally released from Russian custody, and she is back home stateside, and her wife is obviously ecstatic to have her back. And this is something that we've been talking about on and off basically since it happened, and I'm glad she's home. I knew that it was going to be an overpay for like Russia was going to ask for the worst fucking criminal. We can go back and check the tape. I called it. I knew that would happen. I don't give a shit. Get her home. That finally happened. And I'm just glad she's home. There's like Russian criminals, Russian bad men are a dime a dozen, man. Like it's a cliche at this point. So it doesn't shock me.
Vince sounds very modest and very, sincere about the scenario. Let me just say that I texted the group here and I said, hey, Brittany Griner's now got a platform. What's she going to do with it when she gets back? These fucking turncoats immediately said, oh, she's going to open up her own weed store. And Vince goes, yeah, she's going to name it Gulag Kush.
I did say Gulag Kush. It was a perfect opportunity for a joke in the moment, and I took it. And
and we appreciate it.
Yeah, she's free to do whatever she wants, and I think she probably will be speaking up because the WNBA players have always been out in front on social issues, and this is another one that will definitely happen. But also, if she can make some money on the side doing the thing, then go be it. Do you? I mean, honestly, the reason she was playing in Russia was because she wasn't getting compensated enough for her work. So I don't, if she finds a way to, make some more money selling Gulag Kush, go for it.
The Telltale book is coming out December 2023.
Yeah,
already
I
see it.
like. Yeah, I
The
was about
bio.
to say like, there's going to be a book tour. She's
be a
gonna be forced
movie.
into being in the forefront of this thing.
There will be a
for
movie. And who do
while.
we say who was going to play who?
I said Scarlett Johansson was going to play Brittany Griner because Scarlett
I
Johansson.
don't know, man. Have you guys seen that photo of her on the airplane? And I feel like an asshole for saying this, but she looks like Pete Davidson.
She's okay.
I also said that YTT was going to play Putin. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. Oh dear God. Okay, so let's move on to the Warriors. At least they went 1-2 in the last week with losses at home versus Indiana, 112-104, and at Utah, 124-123. But then they get the win at home against Boston, 123-107. They're currently 14-13, 8th in the West. So I mean, they fell back a couple of spots in the standings with this 1-2 week. That Utah loss was not good.
No, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, they had that wrapped up until they didn't.
They should have wrapped it up. Poole should have literally wrapped it up. Never put his arms out. So, but you know what? That loss sucks. It really does. But you got to remember, like, they didn't have anybody playing. You know,
exactly.
It was just the kids out there, and they almost pulled that off against arguably the best team in the league right now. So it's a tough loss, but I think it's a good measuring stick. Boston, the way we dominated that game, what infuriates me is that there's no reason why we can't play that way every single game. It wasn't one guy, it was the whole team.
Yeah.
And I think that should be the way we should play going forward.
Stephen Clay had combined for 66 points. Yeah.
But I mean, Poole played great. What's the kid's name that took the place for Wiggins? Kuminga, he played excellent. He seems to be having a coming out party this year. So I just don't see why we can't play that way. And it looks like Wiseman's starting to figure stuff out down the G League. I know that's the G League over there, but he's dominant, and I think as a confidence level, that's what you need. Come back up here with that confidence level that Poole had. There's no reason why we should be able to win games handedly, or at least, feel comfortable about playing every single matchup, just saying.
Well, you guys have been saying this for weeks that they just need time to coalesce, to come together as a team. And so like now we're finally starting to see it, right?
It feels that way. I think what's hard is that certain guys know how many minutes and what their roles are. And when people get hurt or, we have to rotate certain rotations, I think that kind of tends to throw things off too. Like if you're Poole, right, you're going to play, 24 to 28 minutes a game, and then if you're a starter, now you're playing 36 minutes a game, I think it throws you off a little bit. Your wind, your legs, your timing, how you prepare for the game, everything changes onto it. But yeah, to your point, I think they're starting to figure out, like, I could play 12 minutes or I could play 22 minutes. I'm going to be ready no matter what. And I think that was never really defined for a lot of guys. Like, we were still trying to figure out what rotations work in the second role. And I think the second has been kind of mostly established, give or take maybe two positions, in the point guard position at times and the power forward position at times. I'm sorry.
But having Draymond on the second unit being the decision
that
maker
helps
and the
too.
Facilitator is huge.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Jordan Poole is, as amazing as he's been the past few years, I don't think he's quite at that level to execute the offense on his own. What Draymond does is very special. People, we can make jokes about the quadruple double, or was it the quadruple
single? Yeah.
We can make jokes about Draymond's numbers, but being the decision maker and the facilitator of everything, having that is extremely huge on the second unit. So
yeah, and I think too that we were talking over the weekend that some people have question marks about Wiseman. I'm still haven't wrote him off. I think you haven't wrote him off either, but we had a buddy that made a good point. I said it took Looney so many years to figure it out, but again, Looney was a late round draft pick. He wasn't a second overall pick. So Some people feel that way about it, but we'll see. I mean, maybe he'll get more playtime with the whole Anthony Lamb situation. Who knows? Anthony Lamb is now been. So explain this
so
to me.
I actually have the article from the Athletic pulled up.
Okay, perfect.
So here's what it says. Warriors forward Anthony Lamb sexually assaulted a fellow student when he was at the University of Vermont, according to allegations in a lawsuit filed by 3 women against the school. So the plaintiffs are not suing him. He's named in the lawsuit. Exactly. Yeah. So he's not been charged with anything at this moment. So the Warriors are kind of doing their due diligence. They looked into it back when they were looking to sign him in the offseason. And right now it's just kind of playing the wait and see game with this whole situation, because obviously if this guy did anything remotely close to this, he can't be on the team. You got to get rid of him, cut bait, whatever. But also at this point, because he's not being directly accused, it's the women suing the university for their lack of following through with the incident in question. Sure. So so we just have to kind of wait and see at this point what's the next domino to fall. Is it does he get brought into this suit by the accuser, or is does the school reach out to him for whatever? I mean, I don't know, honestly don't know what's coming up next, but at this point, you want to talk short leashes from earlier. This is the absolute shortest leash on the planet. Like, this guy, if he so much as does, like, if he forgets to pay for a candy bar, he's fucking done. Like you can't have bad character guys on this team that's trying to win another title while this window is still open. And if
it could quickly become a distraction, very quickly.
Absolutely. It's already going to be a distraction. And if he's guilty in any way, obviously I want him gone and off the team forever.
The Warriors front office runs they run a zero tolerance policy. They're much like the Raiders in that retrospect. So
right. Yeah. And I mean, we'll see what happens, because if there's anything that turns that turns it one way or the other, the Warriors will not hesitate to act swiftly.
Is it telling that Bob Myers is going into the last month of his contract and hasn't received a new contract yet? Has anybody noticed that?
I haven't noticed it, actually.
December is the last month of his contract, and there hasn't been anything to renew it. I haven't heard an inkling, nothing. I don't know if he's going to be renewed. I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes that we just don't see. Like, was there a debacle with the whole Draymond thing and how it was handled, or is Bob not rubbing the people the right way? Or I know why he hasn't gotten one.
Joe Lacob's son is also the assistant GM, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And I remember when he got elevated to assistant GM, there was a comment made that hopefully one day he can take over as the general manager. So maybe they're trying to figure out how to make room for all these personalities, because I believe, is Mike Dunleavy Jr. still with the team? Isn't he also like an assistant GM?
So he's like an assistant to the scouting team too.
Yeah, he's like part of the scouting team or assistant something. So maybe they're just trying to figure out how to maybe Bob Myers gets elevated, and I forget Joe Lacob's son's name, but maybe he gets elevated to GM, and then they do something like Myers is senior basketball operations, kind of like what Jerry West was for a while, when I think Larry Riley was the GM and Jerry West was like president of basketball operations or something like that.
Right.
So maybe they're just trying to figure it all out. Okay. Going back to the Jeremy Lamb thing, I didn't have this on the show. Anthony Lamb thing. I do find it kind of terrifying with college sports right now, because there are some other things going on in college sports. There's the punter that was with the Buffalo Bills that got cut. The charges were dropped because I believe a lack of evidence is what they said. But the accusation was made. We talked about this off air a couple of weeks ago about the Stanford Cardinal soccer player She ended up committing suicide because she was fearful that she was going to get kicked off the team and have her scholarship taken away from her because she threw like hot coffee on I think a football player or basketball player's face because her teammate accused him of sexual assault. And I guess where I'm getting at is there are many, many cases the past year to 2 years that I've really noticed in the collegiate level. And anytime these sexual allegations get brought up, these colleges need to start taking them very seriously because young people are losing their lives. It's damaging young people's lives. And we don't know the truth in every situation. There have been cases where unfortunately people have claimed sexual allegations and it came out to be false. Unfortunately that does happen, but the initial allegation needs to be taken seriously, especially at the college level where these are young people developing and these campuses are supposed to be safe. So it's just something that's in my head that's like really concerning that this is happening to so many young people. And it's not just, it's the victims, but it's also the people who think they can do this and treat people this way. It's just it's wrong on all levels. And the universities, many of these cases, the potential victims have brought this to the university and it's been shrugged. And I mean, just look at what happened. I know it's been years now, but Penn State, these issues have been going on for many, many years, and Stanford has more than enough money to take these allegations seriously. San Diego State has more than enough money to take that allegation seriously. I forget the college that it was with.
It's Vermont.
These colleges have money. They have the resources to do this, to investigate it and to listen to these students. So that's my soapbox about the situations.
No, yeah. I mean, maybe I don't want to stay on this too long, but I just had a thought pop in my head. What if, anytime a player is like does a bad thing, like commit sexual assault, what if you can take the money to research that from the coach, because these coaches are paid $12-13 million or whatever the hell it is, at least at the big schools. There's money is the point that I was going to make. But yeah, so I mean, obviously there's no real great way to transition from this, so let's just do it as awkwardly as possible. MLB hot stove, let's go.
Woo!
I mean, we can transition to something depressing again. We can just talk about the A's.
Yeah, well, here we are.
That's what we're doing.
Sean Murphy has been sent to Atlanta. Milwaukee was the third team involved in a 3-team deal to make this work. The A's got back some solid prospects. I think it was like the third and the fourth prospect in Atlanta's pool. But I mean, none of those guys are in anybody's top 100s, apparently, according to, the guys at the Athletic that write these articles. It wasn't in Keith Law's top 100 or anything like that. So, Keith Law kind of sucks, by the way, but moving on.
There's worse reporters like John Heyman.
John Heyman really shit the bed on the Aaron Judge fiasco. He initially reported that the Giants had landed Judge when that was not true, and Aaron Judge ended up staying with the Yankees like your boy Vinny G said he would. He stays for 9 years and was it $360 million? Yeah, that's some good coin if he can make it, man. Wilson Contreras ends up in St. Louis, 5 years, $87.5 million. Xander Bogaerts going to sunny San Diego, 11 years, $280 million. 11 years to live in San Diego, man.
That's a terrible way to live.
The worst. I have to go to the zoo once every 3 years and
or Sam would say, I have to go to the Legoland again.
Man, or damn it, I have to go to the beach and be and just live my best fucking life again.
Aw,
Oh, so
darn.
exhausting. The worst. Okay, moving on. The Mets added Japanese ace Kodai Senga, 5 years, 75 million. This was like one of the big hot ticket pitching prospects coming out of Japan. The Mets land him. Speaking of the Mets, Chris Bassett leaves the Mets. He goes to Toronto. 3 years, 3 years for 63 million. Sean Manaea coming back to the Bay, but to the Giants, 2 years, $25 million. So I mean, those are some of the bigger names that have, been.
Who'd the A's
moved.
get?
They got prospects and mid-level.
we signed a shortstop that batted 243 for the Astros and played subpar defense.
Yeah.
So
Good
that's
job,
who we
guys.
signed.
They are literally
job.
trying. They literally want to lose 100 games this year.
Yeah, I mean, they did it last year. Let's go back to back, baby. Back to back.
You got to break some
And they didn't
records,
even
right?
they didn't even get a top 5, top 3 pick.
Yeah,
that's true.
They got absolutely hosed. They end up with the 6th pick, and they had equal shot at the number 1 overall. I mean, they got absolutely screwed out of it.
I don't understand how 3 teams had a 16% chance and they get 1 and 2, and then the A's get 6. How the hell does that work out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just more shit to put on top of the shit sandwich that we as A's fans have been dealt.
Yeah, I do want to point out that Alex Correa has been talked about with going to San Francisco.
Carlos Correa.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a coach, Alex. I mean, Carlos Correa is still on the docket to possibly either go back to Minnesota or go to San Francisco. So that gives more fuel to the fire for Sam to hate San Francisco even more. There's also the talks of who's next on the dock. Oh, Carlos Rodon might go back to San Francisco, and the Yankees are offering him a deal. I think tonight they should be offering, which would directly be tomorrow. They're going to offer him a deal as well. As far as big names go, and then there's still Dansby Swanson that's still available as a top free agent pick. He's docketed to go visit with a few teams. I think San Francisco should make a play at him, and the reason why I'm saying is because if you don't get Carlos Correa, you could still get another top tier infielder. And as much as people love Brandon Crawford, I think we're looking at the tail end of Brandon Crawford in these next few years. So it might be good to start looking at a positional player that can take his place once he's gone. So
yeah, I mean, most of this Giants core has already left at this point. You just have, I mean, Crawford and Belt, I think are the last.
I think
ones.
Belt is a free agent now.
Oh, that's right. Belt is a free agent. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't renew his contract. So I think he's done. He might play a DH for some team, but he's pretty much done.
Yeah. Okay. So that takes care of MLB Hot Stove. I don't know. We'll do something with it. So real quickly before we end the podcast, I just want to talk about the Sharks. They did have a huge win at Anaheim, 6-1, keeping the Anaheim fucks one step below us. That's right, baby. 9 wins, 16 losses, and 5 overtime losses, 7th in the Pacific. It is duck hunt, baby. Duck hunt season. Let's go. All right.
Yeah. So I guess I don't need to ask the Duck Watch this week. I think I know that we're above them, right?
Yes, we are.
All right.
So that's that's good. I've already got my tickets to Patrick Marleau's jersey retirement ceremony happening in February.
Nice.
So looking forward to going to that game. Bitch, I'm gonna cry like crazy.
Promised myself I wouldn't cry.
I'm gonna cry.
I got tickets to the Warriors game in January.
Oh, nice. Which one?
We're gonna see the Nets.
Oh, tight. Welcome back, Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
he went off tonight. I think he went for like 30 points or something like that against the Washington Wizards.
He'll do that.
He went off.
He does that
fun.
from time to time.
I'm not going to a game. So if any
last time I checked, KD's pretty good at ball.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, that kid might be all right one day.
I don't think he's going to be a cup of coffee kind of guy. I already touched base on our hot takes there at the end. There are extra points, I should say. So I don't know if you had anything else to add to Wonderful today.
I'm all set. How about you, Sam?
I'm all set. I'm ready to go. I just
All
want to say, don't forget to please listen, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash it, smash all the buttons.
Smash the fuck out of that subscribe button, baby.
Follow us everywhere. Send us an email. All of that.
SVT Sports Pod. That is your Gmail, gmail.com. That's our Instagram and Twitter handles, SVT Sports Pod. Please reach out to us, slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with all of you lovely people out there, especially you in Colorado listening to us.
Let's give a shout out to Sweden.
Sweden, baby. Sweden.
We're international now, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We had one listen from Sweden.
Had a babe.
Awesome.
Makes me feel
I want to
good,
know
baby.
what he's interested in. Maybe we talk shit about Netherlands and he was like, you talking shit about the Dutch? You talking shit about them?
Me too. All right. Okay. Thanks again for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Later.